What is going on, everyone? I am Robert Meraz,
And I'm Meraz.
and this is CV Hustle. And today's episode we've been working on for a long time. It's a real special one because everybody out there knows somebody in this industry. This industry is probably one of the biggest in our valley. And we wanted to kind of touch on what's going on in that industry today. So we have three real experts in the game, and today's real estate roundup with CV Hustle. So we've got some pretty special guests. We're going to have them go ahead and introduce themselves from right to left and go on it. Go ahead.
My name is Donovan McDaniel. I've been a realtor here in the desert for 7 years.
Yeah, I'm Billy Meraz. Been here in real estate as an investor since 2008. Got my license in 2016. I'm currently with Windermere Real Estate right now.
And I am James Suer in my 5th year with Keller Williams.
Awesome. So we wanted to bring you guys on here because, you know, the real estate game is always, you know, ups and downs, and especially in 2025, I think we've all seen a lot of changes, at least in the local economy here. And I wanted to kind of get some experts in here and kind of get their read on the situation and what's hot, what's not. So that's what today's episode is going to focus on. So first question, and we'll start with you, Donovan. What kind of trends are you kind of seeing in the market that maybe have popped up in the last 6 months to a year?
In the last 6 months, in the more recent past, I've seen a move back towards fundamentals, right? It's not a free-for-all type market, put it up at whatever price and it'll go. It's more driven by quality of product, correct pricing, staging, timing, the fundamentals of our industry.
So it's where it should be.
I think it's more of a norm than the previous markets, especially coming out of, COVID 2020, 2021. I mean, I know these guys know it was crazy. Mm-hmm.
Well, Bobby's still pissed at me that we didn't sell the house or Airbnb for like some absorbent number.
Cash offer.
But I said, I really want to do an Airbnb. So he goes, okay, 1 year. And now it's been 3 years. So do you have any, I guess this would be to Billy. Have you dealt with any Airbnb situations? Like, do you feel that Airbnbs are taking up a lot of homes that
For sure.
could be, okay.
Absolutely. Cities are putting like moratoriums on them now. So where you can't just turn it into an Airbnb because you bought it, right? So there's a whole like application process each city has. Like right now, I think Indio and Bermuda Dunes are the only one that allow them right now. All the other cities, and Palm Springs, of course. Palm Springs is kind of the leader in vacation rentals. They kind of lead the way for the Coachella Valley, and the other cities kind of take suit of what they're doing. They have a whole team that they monitor all the vacation rentals. They have a hotline if like a rental gets out of hand and stuff like that. Some cities, like the upper cities, like Indian Wells, Rancho Mirage, Palm Desert, they just totally outlawed them. You can't do vacation rentals there
Unless it's like 30 days, right? So
30. Yeah, that's
it's
not
still considered.
that's
like
not considered a
short-term?
short term.
Got
30
it.
days long term. 30 days and more is considered long
Got
term.
it, got it.
And so many communities are in HOAs too. So a lot of the cities just allow the HOA to govern their own communities too. So most of the HOAs are 30 days or more rentals.
So with our Airbnb, I have to fill out a permit every single year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pain in the ass. I mean, I have to go back. How many days did I rent out? What, the money I made, and then I get a big fat tax bill that I got to pay.
Yep.
And I'm like, God, it's not as it's a big moneymaker for India.
the city, yeah, absolutely. Especially with how the valley's grown so much too, with all the festivals they have. I mean, we're coming up on the season now with the Coachella Fest and Stagecoach. This is where majority of the Airbnb owners make their money. Is this next month? And some of them, I mean, you can attest to this. They make probably their whole mortgage payment in that month. So they can afford to have it sit for all year just by renting it out for these 3 weeks.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
James, any trends or kind of patterns you're seeing in the last couple 6 months to a year?
Well, I started real estate during COVID, so I started in the time I didn't know anything.
I was going to say, why would you do that?
I didn't know anything different other than the crazy market that it was. So now, according to people that have been in this for a while, this is more of a, like Donovan said, a normal market where homes are are still selling. People are still selling their homes. People are still buying the homes, but there's more inventory. So they're sitting, instead of going in the first week, now you're seeing a lot of homes sitting 30, 60, 90 days, unless, of course, it's priced right. So
Well, but also because of the interest rates, right? That kind of steeped in and
Hmm.
ruined everybody's day
Yeah,
and all that.
affordability is an issue for a lot of buyers, especially younger first time buyers. They're
Oh
doing all
yeah.
they can to save up for a down payment. And then they get hit with the 6.5, 7.5% interest rate.
Mhm.
And add to that, you have your HOA costs, not to mention the cost of insurance.
Sure.
Insurance
Yeah.
is going crazy right now. Um, that all factors into it, things you have to think about.
Yeah. Well, we're such a unique market because some of that doesn't apply to us, like that interest rate at 6.5%, right? We're a destination location, right? There's a lot of second homes out here. People have that disposable income, and they're coming from other places. And you'll see a lot of cash. You see a lot of cash in the upper level, like the golf course communities and stuff like that. You'll see a lot of cash deals because, and homes sold furnished. Like you don't see that in other places. Like we're a community where they're second homes. People don't want to take their furniture with them after they sell because they already have a primary place that they have, so they don't have anything to do with the furniture. So I mean, we're very unique in that regard that uh, second homes and cash deals are. I mean, you see them quite a bit, especially in the higher end stuff.
What I think is kind of crazy is you guys are saying that everything's kind of tapered down and it's back to where it is, but not the rents, honey. Because I mean, my girls are paying so much money for a little 2 bedroom
Absolutely.
condo, one bath. It's like $2,200. I'm like, oh, that's like our mortgage.
Yep.
That's crazy,
Mhm.
right? And
It's not just real estate though. That's everything. You know, the rents are high, but gas prices are high. Groceries are high. You go out to dinner, you go to a restaurant. Are you paying what you paid 2, 3, 4 years ago?
I
No.
just go to McDonald's.
Yeah.
Everything's expensive. So, and people say oh, it's gotta come down at some point. It's gotta come down. I mean, how does that come down and nothing else comes down, right? It's
Right.
kind of, I feel like it's got to come down together if it's going to come down.
And you said they pay $2,200, which is a mortgage. Not today.
Yeah.
People that are buying today wish they had a $2,200 mortgage.
Yeah,
Yep.
unless you put down a big chunk of
Right.
change,
Mhm.
right, to pay that down.
Yep.
But we were talking about getting rid of our Airbnb, so I need like Tattoo Mark or whatever his name is, right, to come and get rid of all my
The estate
furniture.
Yep.
But we were looking at rents, and I'm like, we have a pretty nice sized house, and so I was thinking, oh, how about $3,000 a month? And he's like, right,
I was like, do your research. How much is the market saying? And then we looked, and it was crazy. It was like
Yeah.
that's the low end of the
Yeah.
the neighborhood we're in. Even I don't think there is even a house in there that you could get for that money. So it's just crazy. I don't understand. I don't think it's sustainable, right? I mean, you can't just go up and up and up and expect
Well-
expect it to never system not to break at some point, right?
With the rents, the system historically doesn't ever really break. What it does is taper off. And so what you do is you end up with like these double digit growth years where rents are going up and up and up. And then it might cool down for a couple of years, but rarely do rents come down from where they've been. So if you're getting $2,000 a month for a 2 bedroom house, 5 years from now, you're not going to see that house for 1,200 or for 1,500.
Right.
Right now in the East Valley, we're averaging about $1,000 a bedroom for rent.
Ooh,
Wow, $1,000
$1,000
per
a
bedroom.
room. That's a rule of thumb. So
Wow.
2 bedrooms, you're around 2,000. 3 bedrooms, you're around 3,000.
yeah, but
It's
you
just-
know what? I just can't in good conscience do that.
Yeah.
I just can't, because I was telling him I want somebody that can pay the damn rent,
Right.
not that's like I
Right.
I
You
can't
don't want
do that.
3 families living in the
Right.
house,
Right.
too, because then it wears and tears on the
Absolutely.
house. More people.
Yeah.
Wow, man, this is all news to me.
Yeah.
That's kind of why
That's why we're here.
Yeah, that's why we're here. We're getting the inside information. So speaking of interest rates, have you guys seen any fluctuation? I know the markets have gone kind of crazy on us here, and we're hearing that the Feds are going to make some moves. Have you guys anticipate any type of movement in that area in the short term here? What are you hearing on the inside?
6.5 is probably where it's going to be. It's going to be in the 6s
Mhm.
for the foreseeable future, probably. You might see low 6s, and you can always buy points down too and get them into the 5s if you want. But yeah, I mean, you're not going to see. Gone are the days of 2.5%, 3%. Like that. That's not coming back anytime soon.
Yeah, the good old days, huh?
Yeah.
Free
But
money.
that was not too long ago. That was a couple years ago.
Yeah,
right.
You know,
Yeah.
so the feds had to slow it down just because inflation just got out of control. You know, so that was part of their way to curb that.
So you said it's at what 6.5? You said it's gonna be what
About-
the hell are we at now then?
We're at six. We're
That's
at
where
6
we're
and a
at,
half.
yeah.
We're
Oh,
at
so
6 and a
it's-
half.
I made sixes.
It's
yeah.
going to be about. It's going to hover there. It'll drop.
A little here and there.
Half a point here. Quarter point there. But it's gonna hover in the sixes probably.
But what people fail to mention or not enough attention is given to the fact that, okay, so say it does drop a half a point. The day it goes down to a 599, it's going to be a feeding frenzy.
Oh,
And
yeah.
all of those homes that,
Prices are going right back
were
up.
too high during, while they were 6.5,
Yep.
now you have 25 offers because you're at a 599 and everybody wants that 599. So,
Everybody's sitting on the sideline waiting for rates to come down.
yep.
And is that the kind of the pattern right now? Is everybody's kind of
That's-
anticipating that?
From the people that I'm talking to, everybody says, we're waiting for rates to come down. We can't afford it. And just like Donovan said, it's the rates come down, the prices go up. Right now, you have the opportunity to be the only person writing an offer on that house. You can negotiate the price. You can negotiate repairs. You can negotiate closing cost credits and things like that. You have 3-4 offers on the house, and you have somebody willing to not ask for credits or pay all cash, and your offer is out the window. And you're looking for the next one.
Oh, it's true. Absolutely. When we bought our house, Billy was our guy, and how many people did we have, vibing for that? But
This
luckily,
is COVID time. I mean, it's crazy, right?
Lucky
work
you had
is
the-
magic.
Luckily, you had a good realtor.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, yeah, that's what we tell. That's what you tell everybody, right? But yeah, I mean, but interest rates are kind of all relative, right? I mean, because if you look back to, we're all too young to remember the '80s, but they were what in the teens, like in the early '80s. I mean, those. Like I can remember our grandmother talking about how the interest rates on some of her rental properties were like 15, 17%
Yeah,
in the 80s.
yeah.
And I'm like, that is crazy, man.
That's true.
So it's all kind of
But-
relative, right?
Well, you have to think back too. Houses were like $50,000 back then.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
16% on
that's true.
50,000 was not that much. Granted, they weren't making a lot of money back then either. So it was
Right.
still probably expensive for them at the time. But yeah, 15, 16% on a $600,000 loan,
It's a
you'd be
lot of
hurting.
interest. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of interest.
That's
Mhm.
unattainable. That's the point.
So I have a question. So what markets are hot right now, right? Like, I know it's blowing up in India where we're at, right? And then they're also bringing in all kinds of like low income places. So do you guys get deals on that? No, right? Those types of things are not for sale. But what are, what are hot markets right now, and like where to buy, and where do you think the next deals coming
If we
from?
do that, we wouldn't be sit here talking to you, right?
Where would you be?
We'd be out
I'd be
making millions of
retired.
dollars.
I'd be retired.
If we could predict the
I'd be
future.
done. Yeah,
Right,
I would
right.
not be working.
Well, you know where people are buying right now, though, right?
Well, for me, I work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and so the most affordable place to live right now is Desert Hot Springs because you can still
Yeah.
get a nice home, in a nice neighborhood with incredible views in the 300 range. That these homes are in good condition. They're 10, 15-year-old homes, and you can get a house for under 400,000 out there, negotiate some credits and things like that. And one thing that I always preach to my clients when they're, a lot of first-time home buyers, they're looking for their dream home, right? Their first home. It's got to be the dream home. It's got to be the 4 bedrooms. It's got to have the pool and all those things.
Really?
And I tell them, I say, your first home doesn't need to be your dream home. Your first home, you just need to get into something.
Get your
If
foot
you-
in the
Yeah.
door.
If you have the ability to do something, do something. And if you can see yourself living there for a couple of years, then you use that equity, sell that home, use that money that you made from it to purchase the next one until you get to your dream home. So I'm selling a lot of homes in Desert Hot Springs right now to a lot of first-time home buyers.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of inventory out there then. Huh?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Huh.
Hmm.
How far can you sell? Like,
I tell people all the time, I have a state license, so
hmm
depending on the price point, I will go anywhere in the state, literally.
Hmm.
But my area is generally Riverside County, Inland Empire, but it all depends on the price point, right? I'm not going to drive to Ontario for a $400,000
Right.
home because that's a lot of commute time. That's a lot of money invested on my end for little return. So
So speaking of investment on your time, I mean, I know you guys when realtors. I used to be in the game, and I mean, some of these realtors were spending buku bucks on advertising, right? Because you got to make the flyers, you got to get your signs, you got to buy food for open houses. Like, what else are you spending money on for these places? And yeah, does it work?
well, you have to get creative, right? The things that we have to spend money on, obviously, our dues and things like that we have to spend money on, our signage. Those are kind of, fundamental things that we spend time on. But 2025 and, a little bit before, we could get creative with it. I know James is known for his chips and salsa and his social media, right? How much do you pay for your Instagram page? I don't pay anything for my Instagram page. My Instagram page is time invested, and my reels are between 7 and 9 seconds, and I can pump out 30 of those in a weekend, and I just post them, and yeah,
I love them.
yeah, and it costs me absolutely nothing but a small investment of time. So you have to get creative, because this economy, we're operating in this economy too. Our bottom line is important too. I went to a breakfast establishment that shall remain nameless, and they had market price next to the 2-egg breakfast. I was like, eggs? Market price?
Wow.
Really?
Really? That was the price?
Oysters ask for
It's
the
like a to be
escalator.
determined
Wow.
price. Wow, that's crazy. Man.
Yeah.
First.
That's,
Yeah.
I've not seen that before, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
But like maybe I'm just a dork, but when you watch these, what is it, Married to Real Estate and these kinds of shows, they're putting on these like big parties,
Sure,
right? Because you
sure.
want to you guys do caravans, right? So that's like, that's just your realtor people. But how do you get people to come and see this new listing that you're really proud of?
I pour into my open houses. I do tacos at my open houses.
Nice.
Free tacos.
That'll
'cause
get me there.
I haven't met a lot of people that say no to free tacos. So I'll do the free taco thing, and then I pour a lot into the marketing around that, because to sell the house, you got to get as many eyes on it as possible. Whether it's the person that's coming to the open house is looking to buy it, or they know somebody. But I'll spend a good week and a half marketing that open house to make sure that I get the turnout. Everything from boots on the ground, walking around, knocking on 500, 600 doors the week before.
You're Jehovah's Witness too.
Probably not.
No
But
fun.
it works. It works. Because if no knocks on anything like that, but you knock on the door and invite them for some free tacos and say we're giving away a 50-inch TV or something like that, then it piques their curiosity and they just want to come out and see it.
There's a
So,
raffle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? I remember going into like open houses and smelling fresh baked chocolate chip cookies.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
old school.
Yes.
Total.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I'm sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's like what I
Smells
was
like
touching
home.
on. That's old school. That's real estate 101.
Right.
Right?
so Billy, what do you do for?
Well, so what I would say for like newbies that are thinking about joining the business and getting into real estate, I mean, it's a tough niche to crack. But back to what James says, open houses are the sweat equity to meet people. Like your goal is to meet people. The more, it's a numbers game. The more people you meet, the more people you jive with, the more people that you can earn their trust just by sitting at an open house and meeting people. You're not there as a realtor to necessarily sell the house that you're at. You're there to maybe pick up a client, right? That, like, this house may not work for him, but hey, I got 2 or 3 others that meet your criteria and what you need. Let's go take a look at them, right? So that, and I would highly recommend somebody joining a team if they're starting out. Joining a successful team, because the learning curve with being on a team is just incredible than trying to figure everything out on your own, or asking your broker for nuggets along the way. Join an established team, work under that crappy commission breakdown that you have with them. But I mean, that's part of learning the ropes, is doing that and learning how a successful team operates. What do they do that makes them successful? And then you can take little nuggets and put in your bag of tricks to establish your own. But when you first start out, you're not going to make a ton of money. Not at all.
I mean,
Not
that's
at
any
all.
business, though, right? You
Right.
got to do the sweat equity. That's You got to put your 1,000 hours in.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's any industry.
But in our bit, like out here, we have I think over 5,000 registered real estates here in the desert. 5,000.
Is that so per capita? Is that like abnormal? Like you guys
It's
would
high.
know that.
I think it's
Like, there's
high,
more
but
here
not
than-
all of them are producing. These are just licensed agents. But I think another reason for that goes back to we are a retirement community, right? So people come here, they're retired, they need something to do. Let's get our real estate license. We can do a couple transactions on the side, kind of thing. And also they can do that because they already they're established already financially, right? They already have the insurance. They already have an income to where they don't need to work, right? So that's why you're going to see such a large number out here versus other places. So
Donovan, do you hate when nosy neighbors come to your open houses? Because we are those
we do
people.
that. We do that all the time.
And I'm like, oh, that tile looks like shit.
Yeah.
I'm very critiquey, but
No.
what do you do?
Do you guys fight about where the office is going to be in this imaginary home that you're never going to buy?
Bobby's
Yes.
music room.
The answer is yes.
Yeah. I mean,
You're one of those. You're one of those couples.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably.
Well, no, to touch on what James was talking about, absolutely not. Like, I love the neighbors. So he does tacos. I do donuts with Donovan because I do my.
Oh, I like that.
I usually do Saturday, Sunday early in the morning because
I like
I've
that.
got kids. We're doing softball. We're doing football. We're going
Right.
somewhere on the weekend. So I get my open houses done in the morning, and so I have donuts and coffee and juice and that kind of thing. But before I do that, I go and door knock the neighborhood, invite the neighbors. I make sure I mention donuts whenever the kids come to the door so the parents can't say no.
Right.
And they're like, this guy has donuts. I don't know who he is, but we got to go check him out.
I would not say no either. So you
See?
need to call us and let us know where your open houses are.
Yeah. Well, and people end up picking their neighbors more often than not. So the neighbor might come in and say, hey, we've been watching this house. It's not for us, but my cousin's moving in from out of the area, or my sister's coming from over here, or I know a coworker that's looking for a home.
Absolutely.
And the two main things that I learned from my mentor, because I started out on a team, and the two things my mentor used to hammer into us is relationships and repetition.
Huh.
Those are the two things. You're building relationships and repetition again and again and again and again. So you can't just door knock one open house. You got to door knock all of your open houses, right? When you build a relationship, I don't want to just know you. I want to be invited to the housewarming. I want to get to know the family. I want to know who you know. And that's how you expand your business.
Yeah, real estate is just all relationships. The more people you know, the more opportunity there is to meet somebody that's looking to buy a house or sell a house, or know somebody that's looking to do something like that. So the more people you can get in front of and talk to, so yeah, I'll do open houses all day long.
Good. I like that.
Yeah, that is one thing for new agents.
Yeah.
When you don't have a lot of business,
Doesn't cost you anything. It's free.
volunteer for open houses.
Mm-hmm.
Go hold an open house for another agent that maybe has, multiple
couple.
listings, because they can only be at one listing at a time. So they're always looking for somebody to help open houses. And,
I'd be like, let me do the most expensive one.
Mhm. Okay, you would.
yep. go meet some people. Get in front of people.
So I get noticed when we go on Instagram a lot, right? Like when I
Yeah.
go to shows and stuff, and I get
I think for your industry, she's a little rock star.
no, I get creeped out.
Yeah.
I follow you on Instagram, and I'm like,
You're
oh
like-
my god,
Yeah.
okay.
Right?
You're like, that doesn't explain why you're touching my arm.
So anyway, so you don't get like bugged out like that.
No, not really. Because I'm a people person. You got to ask my family. My family probably gets weirded out by it. I'm always talking to strangers regardless, because
Well, they know your personality.
that's just my personality, right?
Absolutely.
So
So what's the goal? Just do it consistently, right?
just do it consistently. Find something that you can do consistently. For me, I tried a bunch of different things, and what I landed on was something that was very consistent. It was authentic to my personality, and it was quick.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So
I know what it is, but I want you to explain
well,
it.
I in my search for what to do, there was a phrase that kept coming up over and over again, and it was like, just stop trying to follow the popular thing and just keep it real. Just keep it real. If you can do that, then you'll be fine. Do it 5 days in a row. Just keep it real 5 days in a row.
There you go.
So then I just started making these videos, funny little quote, followed with the keep it real. And then that just kind of took off. And my goal was to do 50 videos in a row, and I think I finished with like 225.
Oh
Wow.
my gosh.
Wow.
And I the biggest benefit was being able to connect with a lot of industry folk from all over the country,
I feel your
mortgage
pain.
lenders, realtors, and clients, of course. But one of the best things were folks like, I can see your personality in the videos, and I know what area that you're in. So if I have anybody that's in that area,
Referral.
we're gonna call.
Very
And
good.
I mean, you can't pay for that kind of exposure.
No.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the goal of any marketing, is just to be the name top of mind when they need the service, right?
Right.
And I think you do an excellent job at that, man. Because just that's how I figured out you were in real estate all these years. I'm like,
Yeah.
Donovan's in real estate.
Well, that
Didn't
was
even
part
know
of the
that, man.
frustration
Yeah.
is knowing folks that I've known my whole life, and then you see them the month after they've purchased the home,
Right.
and that was really frustrating.
Exactly. You're
Oh
like,
yeah, you did real estate.
Oh
like,
my gosh! Thanks a
yeah.
lot,
You're
man.
like,
Thanks a lot. You seen my Instagram? You know, I
Yeah,
see you in the
Yeah.
stories.
and now if they say that, I just say keep it real.
Yeah.
Right?
You use somebody else. Congratulations,
Right.
you got a beautiful house. Keep it real.
Keep it real.
But social media king in the room is Mr. James here. I mean, this guy,
Oh, yeah.
he's blown up. You're probably one of the best guys in the whole valley, honestly, because I know you just from all your tidbits about what's opening up.
Sure.
I mean, where did those ideas come from? Are you just a marketing genius, or how did that actually happen? You know,
Honestly,
kind of know.
Well, I moved out here in 2000, was born and raised in the LA area. And I moved out here in 2000, didn't know anybody. Spent 25 plus years in the restaurant business, but I was always infatuated with growth. Anytime I saw fences go up somewhere, I wanted to know what was being built there. And so I'd make it kind of my mission to find out, and this was before, I'll date myself a little bit, before there was the internet and stuff, right? And so I'm trying to scour like the newspaper and stuff to find out what's being built. And once I got into real estate, social media is a big deal. Like, you got to get in front of people. And so I was posting every day, just a lot of real estate stuff, random things. I created a real estate page that nobody followed, because if you're not buying a house,
Right.
nobody cares about
Right.
buying a house. And so I just focused on posting something every day. And I would post a picture of a construction site and talk about a restaurant that was being built there, or whatever it was. And I got very little to no interaction.
Huh.
But I stayed consistent. I kept doing it. It wasn't until I put my face in the video and made a video about it, talking about it, rather than just a picture with a caption. And that I thought my Instagram was broken, because when I went to bed, I had like 1,500 followers, and I woke up, I had like 4,000. And I'm like, wait, what happened?
It was the eyes. It kind of drove them in.
Well, and so I capitalized on that. I saw that, and I said, oh, this is what everybody wants. This
Yeah.
is what works. And so let me just start creating videos like that. And so I just made it my mission to find out what's being built everywhere, from Palm Springs to Coachella and everything in between. And, I've made a ton of connections with, city leaders and developers. And now it's almost at the point where it's on cruise control, where I'm not even having to search for things. I have business owners reaching out to me and going, hey, we're building this.
Oh, that's
Or
awesome.
we're going to open this business. We'd love for you to come and check out our new business before it opens. We'll give you a tour. And so I've had the opportunity to go and check out the behind the scenes of all sorts of stuff that's coming. And then I take a bunch of video and piece it together, throw the little green screen on there. Everybody calls me the floating head. They can call me what they want.
As long as they're watching.
The bobblehead.
As long as they're
As long as
watching, right?
That's
the
it.
buoy in the ocean.
Yeah. But yeah, it's worked. I've made a ton of connections. I've got a ton of business from it, because again, it all goes back to just getting in front of people.
Right.
And now I'm in front of thousands and thousands of people. I can't go anywhere now. Everywhere I go, and I get in trouble if I'm just reading something,
Yeah.
because it looks like I'm angry. And so
You're trying to see the words.
I'll get the little nudge and like, hey, fix your face. Like, people are looking at you right now. I'm like, I'm just reading a sign right now. But yeah. So all eyes, it seems like, are on me all the time.
Well,
so.
I just need a plug that I just opened up a new slab studio, so you should come check it out.
Got it.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Got it.
Speaking of some opportunities to do a video, but no, that's amazing. I mean, you kind of just took your hobby. You're
Yeah.
already doing that,
Yeah.
right? and then you said, hey, maybe people will enjoy this, and wow, do they enjoy it? I mean,
It took off. I haven't spent any money on any social media or anything like that. It's all been just staying consistent, posting, and some of them bombed and some of them took off, and now they're all going.
I want to know what's happening at the Devanes in India.
yeah,
You got to watch the video. I just did one
Oh, shit, because-
last week. Do you follow me?
Yes. So, but listen.
You sure?
Well, I know who the builder is. It's Rice Construction, and I do business with them. So I'm like, hey, what's going on over at the Devanes? And then I just got silence. I was like, maybe it's a big deal. I was telling me about.
It's a steakhouse. They're a group out of Chicago.
Nice.
It's gonna be a steakhouse with wine, spirits, and small plates.
It's a beautiful,
Yeah.
place. I know our brother-in-law was talking about, let's put a dentist office in there, and because it's a great
is.
property.
It is.
it's a beautiful property. But that's amazing, though. That story is, for all you out there, consistency, right? Find something that people like and just be consistent, right?
Yep.
And you'll blow up like James over here.
Well, you can't be ugly, right? No.
Well, I mean, you crop out your face if you ugly. Use that filter. There's a lot of good
I don't
filters.
know. Have you been on Instagram, man?
There's a lot of good filters.
There's
out
some
there.
trolls over there getting big.
Oh, really?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Must be personality.
Right.
Well, that's what most people are self-conscious about. Is their voice on camera or their face on camera. I mean, I'm like, I'm not putting my face on social media. Post a picture and a caption, and that's pretty much it. But people want to see, like you said, they want to see who you are, and that kind of determines if they want to work with you or not. Is they follow a million people on social media, but if you don't hear them speak or see them speak, then you don't really know what kind of person they are.
Yeah.
Once they do, then you go, I kind of vibe with that person. Let me reach out to them.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, everybody's addicted to their phone.
Yeah.
So if you want to advertise, be there, because I think the days of commercials and billboards, those are going to be gone in 15 years, I think. I just think it's all
Less,
going.
yeah.
Yeah, it's all going digital, man. People are
Really?
Yeah.
people don't watch TV anymore. Our generation does, but we're the last
Yeah.
of the Mohicans
We
on that.
watch TV, but rarely do we watch commercials. I
Mm-mm.
mean,
Right.
I just
Yeah.
record
Skip.
everything, and I'm
Skip.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
hey, my kids fall apart if there's ever a commercial. They're like, "What is this?"
Yeah, it's like a relic of the past. And I
Right.
think social media is that's where it's going. So
Yeah.
we have a pioneer here in the building. So we appreciate you coming out. So kind of moving back to real estate. I mean, I know you guys all got your crystal ball and all. I know you guys are Notre Dameses in here, but and we'll kind of start with you, Billy. What are you seeing like in the future? Like, are you for 2025? We're barely in April as of recording right now. We've had some turbulent days on the market, but what are you
Right.
kind of expecting in terms of put your little forecast hat on, and I mean, we won't hold you to this. Nobody will watch nobody will watch this. So
Nobody
can't hold you
knows.
to
We're,
it.
we're,
Nobody-
we're just gonna record it, put it on the internet.
Right.
We're not gonna hold
Then,
it.
then what do you want
Nobody
to
knows.
happen?
I mean, I think it's going to be more of the same. I mean, I think you might see a slight price slowdown.
And when you say slight, like what is that? Like 5%?
Yeah,
10%?
No more than
No more than
10%.
No more than
I don't
10%.
think so.
Even in the down market, down economy, 10% is our floor. Is that,
That's
is
what
that-
I
is that
think
pretty
so. Yeah,
consistent?
you're talking like near within a year. Or
Yeah,
so, right?
I'm talking next.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna go down much. Just because everything else, like I was saying before, everything else is so high. Gone are the $300,000 single family, 3-bedroom single family homes.
Mhm.
Like in La Quinta Cove, those they were all over the place there in the La Quinta Cove. Those days are gone.
Wow.
They're gone. You might be able to get a deal, but I don't see it correcting much. If anything, it's going to go up.
Well, it always does. There's never
Yeah.
a right time to buy. I think you just got to do it,
Mhm.
right?
If you
Because-
can financially afford it and you're not like strapped and you can do it,
Mhm.
Do it.
jump in for sure. Like there's going to be if it crashes, it's going to be something out of left field that we didn't anticipate happening.
Like COVID or something like that.
But,
Well, what about the tariffs?
Well, when COVID hit, everyone thought it was going to tank. We thought everything was going to go down, and it
Yeah.
did the exact opposite. It skyrocketed
Mhm.
during COVID. So that's what I'm saying. You don't know. You don't know.
Do you think the tariffs impact the
Tariffs
real
will
estate
drive
area?
it up. Will drive the prices for everything up.
Mhm.
Because of cost of building
Cost
co-
of building,
the cost of
everything,
the
cost of
building
goods,
materials.
and inflation.
Well, I went to lunch today with my advertising girl for KSQ, and she said she had a guy who is building. He's a contractor for 2 houses he had coming up, and he wanted to like advertise, and just canceled the appointment because of the tariffs. His clients were like, "Yeah, we're not doing anything."
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting to
Yeah.
hear it from that viewpoint, you know.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah.
I know in my industry, I'm getting a whole bunch of new price books. I'm like, you know, I'm
Well,
working on a big job.
Yeah,
and it's
have
like,
you noticed a slowdown or anything? People hesitant to buy, you know?
not
Because you're kind
yet.
of related to
Not
this
yet.
this
I
field.
know.
And that's what's so great about real estate. There's so many different avenues you could go in real
For
estate
sure.
for a career, right? You can be on the lending side. You could be on the property management side. You can be an investor. So there's a lot of different avenues you can go down and find your niche, you know, and what you like to do, you know. So
Speaking of investing, you've done a lot of investing.
I have.
So tell us about that. Talk about boots on the ground. You like to do all the work yourself, right?
I do. That's kind of that's what I enjoy the most. Absolutely. Yeah, that's how I originally got into this business. I bought some investment properties. I was fortunate enough to buy it when it was low in 2012. You know,
Right.
around that time when things were really low, and got to go in there and fix it up myself and kind of do the sweat equity thing. You know, and we've been fortunate to hold on to them and establish a nice little passive income stream from that. You know.
Absolutely.
But that also helps with on the real estate side too, when things come up like inspections and stuff like that, and requests for repairs, and talking your clients through all that stuff. That's kind of where I shine in that kind of stuff. And having the contacts, bringing in the experts to take care of a lot of that stuff.
So speaking of investments, do you have any places that you're investing in? And the same question for you.
Well, definitely not as much as Billy.
Billy's up to like
Billy is
500 now.
Billy is growing exponentially. No, we have just a small condo that we invested in years ago.
Yeah.
But outside of that, we are looking to invest more in the future, but we're not waiting on the market to collapse to do it. Right? It's not a real thing, and I think everybody has that kind of muscle memory of 2007, 2008,
man.
thinking that there's going to be like a 50% pullback
Right.
in prices, and that's just
That's
not
not gonna
realistic.
happen.
Normal corrections are 5 to 10% when the market does correct, and we've seen those.
Yeah.
We've seen it come down
Yeah.
5%,
I mean,
close to 10%.
we're not that far off of those COVID prices, with those like setting all-time highs. Like we're not there anymore, but we're not that far off of them either. So
But I got the comps from my house today, so I don't know. I was like, don't tell my husband.
Yeah,
Right?
but in any market, and these guys can speak to it too. Any day of the week, I can find somebody that says, "I wish I would have bought 5 years ago."
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't matter what day of the week, doesn't matter what year it is. Every time,
So you
You
need
can
to
find
do a
somebody.
video on shoulda, woulda, coulda.
shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? What do they say? The two best times to plant a tree were 20 years ago and yesterday.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
There you go.
yeah.
Yep.
So
Same goes for real estate.
yeah, just get your foot in the door.
Mhm.
Every possible pun intended. Get your foot in the door.
So do you have any investments?
I do not. That was
Not yet.
that's yeah,
That's coming.
exactly. It's
Okay.
what started off as the plan to buy my first investment property. I realized I'm going to buy my next home
Mhm.
and use my current home as my investment property because I refinanced during those 2% rate days.
Mhm.
And
Nice.
so I
Smart.
have a 2% rate on my current home.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
But- Yeah, that's the best way to do it. I would say anyone out there is buy it as your primary residence. You're going to get the best rates as a primary. Live in it. Do everything you want to do to it. Fix it up. Get it beautiful. Put in that pool or whatever you want to do. And then as you establish equity, purchase another one and hold that one to either rent out or develop that passive income. And then
Yeah, that's
if you can afford to
Afford
do
it.
it, yeah.
so like us, we have young girls and
Mm-hmm.
they want to buy and they're starting their families and stuff and they're like, "Mom, there's just nothing out there that we can
Mhm.
afford." And I'm like, "You need to go buy a mobile home at this point." I mean, what do young people do in this,
It's tough right now for young people. I think we're gonna have a lot of problems with that, with young kids coming up and wanting to purchase that home and not just not having the credit, not having the financial backing to be able to do it. I think you're gonna see people living at home longer
Uh,
while they're building up
No
a
thanks.
down payment, it's just the unfortunate reality, I feel like. Yeah.
There you
What
go.
I like to tell young folks and what I'm kind of counseling my kids on doing is think outside of the box, right? You don't have to buy, like James touched on earlier. Your first home shouldn't be your last home. Should, whenever you buy as a young person, you should use that as a stepping stone.
Starter home.
I'm really big on house hacking, and telling younger folks like, hey, you're single or it's just you and your girlfriend and the dog, buy a triplex, live in one side, rent the other two sides out, build the equity, right? You can get a better rate and better terms because it's owner occupied, stay in it for 2 years, and then you move out of your unit, keep the investment, use the equity to roll it into something else. I mean, if I had to do it all over again right now, my first home would definitely be multifamily. It would be a 2 or 3 unit something somewhere.
Yep.
So I've been trying to tell him, if we sell the Airbnb, then I'll only sell it if we buy a triplex or a fourplex. And I keep trying to get him to move into that, and he said no.
Oh hell no! We have
See?
too many big ass kids, man. I don't want to live next door to them.
Put
I'm
'em
trying to
in the
get
next
I'm trying to
duplex.
get
That'd be-
farther away from the kids, not closer to them.
It'd be a family compound, is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to.
Right.
Yeah, they'd have the next. We'd be losing money already. 'Cause Ty and Mason would pay no rent. So no thanks. I'm too old for that stuff. Maybe like 10 years ago. But.
I don't know that I would necessarily rent to family, but
Yeah.
to live in one side and rent the other two out. I know. I'm thinking of a specific person where they rented and they own the building. They lived in one side. They set up an LLC, and
Nice.
then the LLC ran the building. And so when the two other neighbors were out front complaining about the landlord, they would just jump in and complain about the landlord too, even though they were the landlords.
Nice.
The other two folks didn't know. So, something needed to be fixed. They called the 800 number and the landlord
There
called
you
the
go.
plumber. The plumber showed up, not the landlord.
Right.
Wow.
A lot of folks are worried about that. Well, I don't want my neighbors to know that they're paying me rent and that I'm not paying. They don't have to know.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question. So your kind of niche is in like DHS, right? I don't know where yours, but I know. And where's yours? I know it's your. So you kind of get established into like a certain area, right?
You want to, like, as you get more established, you don't want to be driving out, like Donovan was saying, Riverside County. You want to be driving to Beaumont, out to.
Right.
You ultimately want to work in your backyard. Like that's the goal, right? So you're not having to drive everywhere and whenever that you get a call, kind of thing, right? So, yeah. So I've kind of focused in South La Quinta. So,
But you're within kind of, what's the name
the
of it?
citrus, yeah, the
citrus,
big in the
right.
citrus. Citrus, trying to go into Rancho La Quinta, Mountain View, PGA West. Have one right now in Tradition. So just trying to stay,
Tradition.
in those communities. So I'm not driving, all over the place. So.
I'm working on 2 spec houses right now in Tradition.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's not many going up.
I
So
know.
so I probably pass by it every
Yeah.
day.
Do you have a particular neighborhood you like, or?
I mean, I prefer my backyard. I love Bermuda Dunes. I love North La Quinta, Palm Desert, Indio. There's nothing wrong with Indio. I mean, all parts of Indio. Bring it on. I love it.
Right.
Those are my areas. But also, when I was first licensed was before I moved back to the desert. So I was in Sacramento. So I still get calls from Northern California every now and
Wow.
then. And for the right person, the right client, the right referral, I have no problem driving back and forth. I'll do it. So call me crazy.
My niche is definitely not Desert Hot Springs.
Oh, sorry. What is it?
I would make that clear.
He was
I
holding
apologize.
that.
Well,
That hurt him. That
What
hurt
the
him.
hell did
I was
you
gonna
say
wait till
about-
they were done speaking. I wanted to make sure I clarified. No, I work with a lot of first-time home
First time
buyers.
buyer. Okay.
And that's the most affordable place for them to live. But as far as just like them, I prefer my backyard. I live in North Indio. I love Indio. And so that's where the majority of my listings and my clients work and live is in Indio.
The new north side or the old?
Yeah.
The real
I
north
know.
side or the fake north
My,
side?
my
Aw.
yeah, no, my fiance's dad lives in the old or
Yeah,
the
yeah.
original. I
The
guess
original.
the original North
Jackson
Indio.
and
So
yeah.
that's a hot button for him. Anytime I say North Indio or somebody says North Indio,
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
so
oh yeah,
that's not North Indio.
yeah. That's not.
Nope.
I'm North Indio. That's north of the freeway.
So what do
Yeah.
you call it then? The North?
I mean, I call it North
That's-
Indio.
That's north of the freeway.
There's a big sign there now that
The
says
NI.
North Indio. Yeah.
Don't. Yeah, let's not
Yeah.
go there. Let's
Easy.
not bring those gang wars back from the '90s that we
Yeah,
all
careful with the
we all
initials.
grew up in from Indio. But yeah, there's some contention on the north side of Indio right now. What is the real North Indio? You know.
Hmm.
But that's awesome. I think you guys all kind of have your own. Is that traditionally what happens in real estate? Is you guys kind of just find your niche areas and
Yeah,
you wanna
typically
focus?
they'll start when you come into the business. You start as a buyer's agent. Typically,
Mhm.
you work with buyers, right? So what happens with buyers? They buy a house, right? They live in the house for X amount of years. They become sellers, right? Well, who do I know that can sell my house? Person that helped me buy it, right? So the natural progression is as you progress in your career, those buyers turn into sellers. Then you become more of a listing agent at that point, and that's ultimately what you want. You want listings because you can control a lot of the narrative and stuff like that when you have a listing. What's so funny over there?
Because it doesn't hurt to double in that sucker here.
It doesn't for sure. If you can, yeah.
Speaking of listings, wasn't there? So, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there a federal ruling a year or 2 years ago that kind of changed your guys' commission scale and how the whole industry works? Is that something that is still going on? Is that something that's changed the game? I mean, I kind of vaguely remember detail. I'm sure you guys know exactly what the details are, but has that changed everything, or is it still business as usual?
They try to change. I mean, yeah, it has. It's changed the way we do business here for sure. It wasn't anything California had done. They just got lumped into a national lawsuit with NAR, National Association of the Realtor. Some of the southern states, I think Missouri was one of them. A couple others were accused of like price fixing commissions and stuff like that. And then also another one, sellers got upset for paying the buyer's commission, the buyer's agent commission. It's like, why, as a seller, am I paying somebody to negotiate against me? That doesn't make any sense, you know. So there was a big lawsuit, and NAR ultimately settled with this lawsuit, and in turn, the national NAR changed a lot of their regulations and stuff, so we had to follow suit with it. California is the most litigious state in the
for
country,
sure,
so
for
we have
sure.
all kinds of documents and stuff. You know, both sides sign that stating everything's negotiable. You know, commissions are negotiable. But in order to satisfy, big National Association of Realtors, California kind of fell in suit and changed the way we do real estate here, like what's in the contracts and stuff like that.
Has
So-
it changed anything in terms of like what you guys are bringing back, or is it
No.
change? It just changes the paperwork and
Yeah,
It
so-
just
legality
added a
of
lot
things?
more paperwork.
It did,
Really?
yeah.
Is that the end? Is that really the end game of all this? Is you got to
I
do
mean,
more forms?
I feel like it's going to change. It always does. We were doing this. Donovan and I were talking about this. We were doing this back during COVID with these PEDs. There, you couldn't go into a property unless your client
Property
signed.
access disclosure.
Yeah, the clients had to sign them because of COVID. Was
Yeah. Have you
Like,
had a
hey-
fever recently?
Right.
Yeah.
So you had to
Okay.
sign these as you're going.
Questionnaires,
So
yeah.
there's always things like this.
Yeah.
The game's always changing. There's always forms being thrown in. The forms are always changing. They change probably monthly. But but the way it works, I mean, it's just up to us to be more diligent with our clients and explaining to our clients like what's going on and what's happening, right? So you go into a listing for a seller, like, hey, it's the total commission is 5%, right? Like, I don't care how you wanna break it down.
6% anymore?
It's not. It hasn't been 6%
Really?
for a while. Yeah.
Since I used to be.
Just
around.
I mean, just because the prices are so high now, so commissions are increasing as well. So you'll find somebody will do 5% all day long. And even in the coast, you're going to see maybe less than that. But we basically, you have to explain to your seller why it's in their best interest to pay the buyer's commission, right? Why is it in their best interest? Like, why do I got to pay the buyer's agent? Well, this is why, Mr. Seller, because if you don't pay that, nobody's going to come look at it. They're not going to see it.
He found the buyer.
He's
Right?
he's not going to show it to you. There's 2 or 3 other properties that they'll take
They're paying.
their clients to that are paying the commission. So it does you a disservice not to pay that that commission essentially. So, and then also they can make up for having to pay the commission in their purchase price too, right? So it's just on how you explain it to your clients and making sure that they understand, but it's pretty much the same.
So it hasn't affected the industry like they said it was gonna. I remember when that first came out. I think the Wall
Everybody
Street
was-
Journal was saying it's
Mhm.
gonna kill the
Yeah.
real estate market, and I was
The
like,
headlines kind of made everyone take a deep breath for about 30 days
Mhm.
because nobody knew what was going on because all they were getting were the headlines thrown at them.
Mm-hmm.
And then once everything came out and
The
we
dust
got
settled.
we got our contracts and everything was kind of finalized, then it was like, oh, okay. It's another disclosure. Read this. This is what it means. This is what it meant before. Basically the same thing. But
It's just like
Yeah.
it's just paperwork.
yeah,
It's in your purchase offer, you just write commission to be 2.5%, and
Right.
I've never seen a seller squawk at that,
Never.
or whatever your commission is.
never.
They're like, okay,
Yep.
so
And it, like he said, in California, we've always disclosed more than most states
Right.
to begin with,
Mhm.
right? And the commissions have always been negotiable, always.
You just brought something up.
What's that?
You have to disclose if somebody
Dis-
died in the house.
Disclose,
Right?
disclose.
within I think 3 years.
2
3
years or
years.
3 years?
3
3
years.
years, yeah.
I
Mhm.
couldn't do it. I
When,
don't think I could do
when
it.
when in doubt, write it out.
Yeah.
Disclose.
You
Yeah.
couldn't
I
just
like
Yep.
it.
If there's a
Alright.
question on whether or not you should disclose it, you should disclose it.
Yeah.
And then how do you guys decide like what escrow company to use or what? Because I know sometimes like the buyers, the seller, whoever the agent is, will be like, we're going to use this, da 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 da.
Mhm.
But then there's also clients that are like, no, we're going to use this person, right?
Clients?
Relationships.
What do you?
client. You won't hear that from clients.
Yeah, not from clients. Usually it's agents that have their preferred team.
What do you
Um,
prefer about them?
I prefer the way my escrow company handles my clients. Every time there's a phone call to be made, an email to be sent,
Mhm.
they're a point of contact. They represent my business and my style of business as much as I do. So from my lender to my inspector, my escrow company, I'd like all of that to look uniform.
Seamless, yeah.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. And they can make or break transactions
Definitely.
because they all
Really?
offer similar services, but they're not all created equal.
Yeah.
Not at all. Title agents, especially title agents. Title agents help out with that day-to-day advertising and getting information on properties and that kind of thing that nobody else can really do.
Oh, like, oh, you got a $50,000 lien,
Yeah.
right, or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
against
or
it.
you or these guys probably know this term. You have an uninsured deed.
Oh.
You're not allowed to actually sell this house, Mr.
Yeah.
Seller.
Yeah.
You have to go through and legally get yourself onto the deed in order
Yeah.
to sell the
oh
home.
wow,
Just because your dad gave it to you 20 years ago and
don't work like that.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot of stuff. So who you work with matters. And me being a lot newer than these guys in the business, like I started, I asked my fellow agents who they used, and I went through a handful of different companies before I found one that I liked, I got along with. Obviously, right? If you're going to work with these people on a day-to-day basis for each transaction, you're going to want to have some sort of good rapport with them and relationship where you can call them and speak to them and know what you're going to get. And like Donovan said, the relationship that they have with your clients, because that's a representation of you. So I filtered through a lot of different companies before I found the ones that I said,
Mhm.
okay, these are the people that I want to work with. So
Very good.
Trial and error, man. Trial and error.
Yep.
You guys got any good stories about a listing or an open house or something entertaining for our audience before we got any good? I know you guys got something, man. Something.
oh, there's always something.
I know.
there's
I know
always
Donovan
something.
got some good ones.
Oh, I've had probably I can't say the most surprising showings, but I've had some pretty shocking showings before where you go to open up a house and the alarm code
It doesn't work.
is on the listing and it doesn't work.
Oh, nice.
And you set the alarm off in a house and of course the listing agent's not answering and you're
Yeah.
standing there in front of your clients and
Or
the
the
alarm's
super,
going
or the
off.
super doesn't work because they have like a timeline, a time
Mhm.
restraint on it. You can't open the lockbox, and you have clients sitting there like, "Are we getting in this house?" And you're like, I don't
And
know
you're
if
like,
we're getting
yeah,
in
I'm
this
gonna
house.
break this window real quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many times I've shown houses with just people in bed sleeping
Yeah.
in one of the
Shut
rooms.
up.
Yeah.
Happens all the
They're
time.
just
What?
in bed, just
They're
The
sleeping.
teenager, they couldn't get the teenager out.
No,
of the
it's
house,
like it's
or-
like a rental,
Yeah.
and like
They're not leaving.
the landlord didn't tell
Ugh.
the tenant there was a showing or something
Yep.
like that, and he told
Wow.
us it was good to go. No one's going to be there, but he's drunk, passed out on the bed, butt naked. Like just not going to that
Oh,
room.
you showed that house too?
Here it is.
Yeah. Gonna stay out of that room.
Yeah.
You see the rest of the house.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
showed a house one time where there was a caretaker in the shed in the backyard.
Mhm.
So I'm showing it's an empty house. There's no furniture or anything, right? And I start to smell smoke and like fire, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And I walk in the backyard, and I can see by the shed there's a little fire. It's in a little barbecue pit, but it's not like he's starting a grill. It's an actual like fire. And then all of a sudden the shed door opens, and a guy peeks his head out, and he looks at me, and he just kind of does a nod, and he goes, "You one of them?" And I said, "It depends." He's like, "Oh, I'm watching the house." And he closes the door and goes back in the shed. And so I just locked the back door and told my clients, "Hey, time to go.
Time to go.
Time to go." And then I called the listing agent and I'm like, "Hey, did you know about that?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, that's Francisco. He does that." And I'm like, "You couldn't
Give
have
me a heads up on
communicated that.
one?
You couldn't
Wow.
didn't want to bring that up beforehand."
You meet some interesting people.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
when people want to, list their home with you, what's the pain in the ass? I mean, I would imagine a hoarder, right? Trying to get them to part with their stuff. But what is a pain in the ass seller for you?
I would say somebody who's unrealistic on price. They
That's-
have like a price set in their head, and like there's no way you're going to hit that number. And what's going to end up happening is if I take this listing at that price,
It's all your fault.
you're going to be pissed at me 6 months from now. Why hasn't this sold? And then it just develops bad blood, But then, so you you take that with that risk, knowing that hopefully they self-realize, like, okay, maybe my house isn't worth that much. Let's drop it to get this thing sold. Because ultimately you want the listing and you want to sell the house, but it's like, so you kind of got to fill it out up front. So that's would say is the biggest complaint I have
Biggest
with
Mhm.
sellers. It's just unrealistic.
Out of how many, like 10 sellers, how many are doing that?
Oh,
3.
It seems
Four.
It seems to be.
Why are you laughing?
He's like,
seems to be
he's like
more.
a lot.
Yeah.
Be like, I can offer you some more chips and
Yeah.
salsa.
Yeah.
Some tacos.
Well, we're coming off of COVID, the all-time high, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people are still in that mindset, like, oh, they sold that like 2 years ago. I
Mm-hmm.
can get that. And you're
Yeah.
like, not
Sellers
anymore.
think it's 2021. Buyers think it's 2012.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's neither.
Yeah,
It's neither.
we're having a tough time getting them together. So there's got to be a lot of concessions made from everybody to get there. That's kind of
Yeah.
what we're seeing.
This pricing is tricky because it's nobody really sets the price, right? The sellers want to set the price. They want to ask you what you think the price should be, and at the end of the day, it's the market that sets the price.
Yeah.
Your house is worth what somebody's willing to pay for it, and that's a tough pill to swallow a lot of times for a seller who's lived there and put the money into it, and they this is their number.
Right.
And when the results speak for themselves, if people aren't coming to see it, it's the price. If people are coming to see it and not writing any offers, something about the house.
Mhm.
So it's tricky.
Yeah, just like anything, the market will tell you the truth, right?
Yeah.
Just like anything in
Every
business, the market does not lie. It'll tell you. We're kind of running up against time here, but we always ask our entrepreneurs what advice they would give to a young kid maybe trying to get in the game or thinking about getting in the game. So let's start with you, Donovan. What would your little kernel of advice be to somebody?
My advice is always consistency. Just be consistent. One of the best pieces of advice that I heard was long time ago. One of my old coaches said that consistency will get you places that motivation won't. There's going to be days where you just don't. You don't want to get up. You don't want to work late. You don't want to do any more. But if you can get that consistency down, that'll carry you through those down times. So that's what I would go with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you know what? Realtors are always on, right? Doesn't matter what time it is or what holiday or anything. So it's a hard one.
It is.
Billy,
Yeah.
any words of advice?
Obviously somebody's coming into the business. They don't have any of those connections typically, right? So like I said before, sweat equity in open houses is a big one. Join a team, but also like I wouldn't quit your job right away too, like because most of the time you have bills to pay, right? You have
Need steady
you
income.
need a steady income, right? So this business, when you do it, you're not going to get that. It's going to be all over the place. You could work, I think James was saying 7 months before he got a paycheck, right? So I would do it on the side first until you get kind of more established and start having a little more consistent income, and then if you feel comfortable and you're a good financial spot, then pull the trigger and do it full time.
So have a side hustle.
For sure, that's it. Yep.
Got it.
Yeah. The perception is this business is really easy and you'll make a lot of money. It's just selling houses. When I started, my coach asked me how many homes I was going to sell this year, and this was in December for the next year, and I said 12. One a month, I can do that. 7 months went by and I had 0. Mm-hmm. So it's not as easy as it looks. Every day you wake up in this industry, you're unemployed. You have to go and find your next paycheck. You have to go and find the next person that wants to work with you. And it's tough. My biggest challenge was going from my entire life working for somebody, clocking in, clocking out, getting a paycheck every 2 weeks. And so the challenge of like they said, I don't have to wake up early today. I don't have to make those calls. I don't have to knock on those doors. I can do whatever I want. And the end result of that is there's no paycheck coming in. So
Sure.
Why I got into this business was you get out of it what you put into it. So if it's somebody that's willing to work hard and do the work and do all the things, you can benefit from it. But if you're somebody that just thinks it's gonna be a breeze and it's all gonna fall in your lap and be handed to you, you're gonna it's gonna be a rude awakening for sure.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's some good tips there, guys. So we got 3 of the best in the game. Where can our listeners or our people watching on YouTube, where can they find you guys? So I'll go, Donovan, where can somebody reach out and kind of contact you if they want to speak to you more about this or obtain your services?
Well, I live on Instagram, so you can find me at Donovan McDaniel Realtor on Instagram. I'm at donovanmcdaniel.exprealty.com. Those are the 2 quickest and fastest ways. I'm usually on the DMs, Donovan McDaniel, so you can DM, hit me up.
So you work for EXP, right?
Yep.
Okay. Got it.
Did I miss that in the beginning?
Yes.
I missed that in the beginning.
Yeah, that's okay.
Billy, where can people find you? I know you're not the biggest social media guy, so.
No, yeah. I'm with Windermere. You can always reach out to them, or you can give me a call directly, 760-333-1884. Email me too, billy@merazproperties.com.
Is that a landline?
I thought it used to be I am the desert.
That was when I was with the team when I first started.
Oh,
I was at a
you've
team.
grown since
I
then.
was with the team when I started. Yeah, that's why I highly recommend it.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
All right, James, everybody should know where to find you, but for those of you under a rock, where can they reach out and kind of?
Yeah, Instagram is where I live. Working on building out a YouTube channel, on Facebook as well. Everything across the board is James Suer Realtor. All things Coachella Valley.
Awesome. Yeah, and he's pretty easy to find people. So
You can be like, I'm James Suer and I'm the doer.
Ooh, new tagline. New tagline.
Just don't Google that phrase.
You don't want the images
You
on
don't want
that
those
one.
results.
You don't want those images.
Disregard
You don't want those results in your
Right.
history.
Right. Well, this has been really fun. A lot of great tidbits in there, guys. And I can't thank you guys enough for coming in. We really wanted to do this for a long time. I think there's a lot of good things to learn. You have to watch this one twice. So
Yeah, and we're going to
thanks for
get
joining.
ladies next.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies in the house.
We'll do a ladies roundtable coming up. So
nice.
thanks for tuning in. If you found some value today, you guys know the routine. Like, subscribe, and follow, and we'll see you next time on CV Hustle.